All right, guys, what is going on? I hope everyone's having a great Veterans Day. For any of the veterans out there that follow me, I want to thank you for your time and service. Happy Veterans Day to you and everybody out there. I hope you guys are having a great day. The Sacramento Kings are making the headlines again. A lot of noise and rumors and chatter, as always, waking up on a Tuesday morning, that the Sacramento Kings are going to go into full rebuild mode now. It's been reported that Sacramento Kings are reportedly considering a full-scale rebuild of their roster and may open to move in key players ahead of this year's trade deadline. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis are all potential trade candidates, as well as Kings ownership decides to whether to stay the course or prioritize the youth and draft assets and cap room. The Kings are 3-7 to start the season after firing head coach Mike Brown and trading point guard De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Via Sacktown Sports, I'm assuming it's probably Carmichael Dave that put this out this morning. And, listen, it's just another morning. I mean, I think that I'm going to take the delusion out of everyone's hoping and thinking that this should be it. Whether you think it's right or not, the reality is let me just ask you guys this right now. Do you trade Sabonis, LaVine, and DeRozan and knowing what you're going to get for him or what you guys think you're going to get for them? What if I told you they have no trade value and the fact that we're stuck with them? DeRozan has another year after his second year in the Kings contract next year. Zach LaVine has a player option going in, a big hefty player option, which I highly doubt he's going to opt out of it. And Domantas Sabonis has a couple years left on his current deal that he's in right now. Realistically speaking, what could you get in return for those three players? And this is no knock on Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, but there's not much you're going to get for them. As much as I hate to say it. So while everyone's thinking about this perfect rebuild and reboot and this and that, let's do this, let's do that, I don't mind if the Kings go this route, but the reality is that how could you move on from players that nobody wants and no one's going to probably trade for? I mean, realistically speaking, honestly speaking, and I didn't want to make a video on this. I just didn't want to talk about this, but reality is that if this is what they're thinking about 10 games into the season. Me personally, if you were gonna go on full on rebuild, why not just do it over the summer? Why not just trade and clean house over the summer? If you guys know what I'm talking about, you guys can finally, understand what I've been trying to say. The Kings, if LaVine, DeRozan, and Sabonis had value that the Kings wanted to move on from, if they would have been dealt and traded with, they probably would have been gone by this past summer, and that wasn't the case. They're still they're still on this team. And what difference is it going to make if they try to trade these three now by the deadline, whereas opposed to, why not just start the whole full-on rebuild over the summer? That's where I stand with these rumors and internal discussions, if that's what's being reported, if this is true. I would, trade Sabonis, trade LaVine, trade DeRozan, trade Monk, trade Keon Ellis, trade Devin Carter, trade these picks, do this, do that. Forget all that. Just start Russell Westbrook tonight, and let's try to get this win tonight. Yes, Russell Westbrook needs to start tonight, and he better start tonight. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this or what your guys' thoughts is on this, but I'm not surprised by these discussions, but I go back to what I've been saying, like, hey, if the Kings were going to go full-on reboot, why not just start their reboot over the summer when they could have traded them? But the reality is that these three players in particular that are headlining these deadlines, does their trade value change now from the deadline until what it was last summer? Absolutely not. And this is no knock on DeRozan, LaVine, and Sabonis. Me personally, if you're going to go full-on reboot, out of the three, I would keep LaVine just because he's entering his prime and he's in his prime right now. But then the reality is that, okay, we're the Sacramento Kings and we'll probably waste Zach LaVine's prime years. So it'd be probably better to move him. But who out there is going to be able to want and move for him? is what I'm saying, guys. And that goes to the same for Sabonis and DeRozan. I don't want to say we're basically stuck with these guys, but that's what it looks like, honestly speaking. That's what it looks like, and that's what it feels like. With that being said, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your guys' thoughts on these rumors. I mean, I get it. We're getting blown out back-to-back games with these veterans, and we're not playing our youth. But reality is that these back-to-back games, look at who we played. We've played OKC. We've played Minnesota. Tonight, we got a Denver Nuggets team, which is we lost to in Denver already. I'm telling you guys, I think that this team, they are what they are. They're 3-7 through 10 games. And I think that you got to start Russell Westbrook and see where this goes with Russell Westbrook starting. I don't want to heavily rely my whole season on Russell Westbrook, but the fact that he's been the Kings' best player this season and coming off the bench, and you got to start him. You just have to start him. So with that being said, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your guys' thoughts on these rumors. There will be no post game tonight because the Kings are back on NBC, and it's their first NBC game since 2002 Western Conference Finals, where they lost Game 7 to the Los Angeles Lakers. The game starts late. Out on the West Coast here in Sacramento, it's going to start at 8 p.m. The game's going to be over probably by 10:30. All this talk going on, this chatter going on this morning from all day today. I just hope that I don't fall asleep tonight because I'm trying to watch a good basketball game tonight. And I'm hoping that the Kings will somehow find a way to beat the Denver Nuggets at home tonight. So with that being said, because of the late start and the late ending of the game, there will be no post-game video tonight. The Kings got to find a way to get Russell Westbrook back in the starting lineup and somehow find a way to beat the Denver Nuggets, who are really surging right now. They're 8-2, I believe. So with that being said, greatly appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Have yourself a great rest of your day. Enjoy the game. Take care. God bless. Keep pushing forward. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.